What's going on, everybody? My name is Gorden Dove. Some of you know me, some of you don't. But today it's not about me. Today is about one of my brothers, one of the most respectable and honorable men that I know. And he is none other than the attorney himself, Mr. Johnnie Finch. Mr. Finch, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, brother. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful, man. I mean, I know people are wondering why in the world is Gorden sitting with this attorney? No, 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 I'm not about to get locked up. But I do have the honor to sit with him today to discuss something that I feel like is monumental. And today we are discussing this great literary work, this book that he is about to release. And the title of it is Black Lawyer Confidential: Keys to Success. And you about to drop this thing on the world and turn it upside down, man. And today I want to talk about that today. So, Attorney Finch, can you just tell me a little bit about you?
Of course. Northeastern North Carolina native, graduate from Women's High School, went to church in Hereford, North Carolina, Saunders Grove, went to Elizabeth City State. After that, criminal justice major. Did 7 years with the Department of Juvenile Justice, working with the young men. It was a good experience, really good experience. After that, decided to go to law school in Virginia Beach Regent University, and from there went to practice law. I'm back in Northeast North Carolina.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, you said in listening to you, you made mention of you being from a small town. And being from a small town, I can't kind of correlate small town and big time lawyer. Like, how did you even get to that place of feeling like, you could come from that place and get into law?
Well, that's a good question. I didn't think about it. When I went to undergrad, it was a pressing part of me, my family, that I need to go get a degree, and that's what I did. And then after I finished undergrad, I wasn't thinking about law school. I was just thinking about finding a job. Divinely, I started working with the young juveniles at the detention center. And then once that was up, I started law school. I met a gentleman through my dad who was a judge, and he thought that he saw me as an attorney. And I went home and I got excited about it. And 10 years later, here I am. So it was never a process for me actually thinking about it. It was more so just being around people that kind of called it in me. And I was like, why not? So 10 years later, it feels like 4 years later or 2 years later. It was really quick.
Wow.
But I mean, even just to think about that track, it was never anything that was really on my mind to become an attorney. And then once I became one, it didn't seem like anything major because I was still in the community with everybody all the time.
Wow.
So just, fun being there, still being in town with the people that I grew up with.
Attorney Finch, you just said something in the midst of me listening to how you responded to that question about still being in the community. And I want to ask you something. I want to ask you, what was it about your local community that, after you went to law school, you excelled, you went through a process, you're doing well for yourself. What was it that made you want to come back to your local community?
Well, and I'm not going to try to get too deep about this.
Okay.
Because I'm really, really emotional about this topic.
Okay.
But there's a lot of young, successful people from Northeastern North Carolina. And after they left, Northeastern High School, Women's High School, or whatever high school, Dare County High School, they took their talents, to New York, California, and all these places, and they're doing great things. And I'm proud of them, and I see them, and I shake their hand. However, what I realize is in our area, we have a small number of successful professionals who are doing it the right way. And what I realized is that you have to see it, because I didn't think about being a lawyer until I saw one. And I definitely didn't think about it until I saw a younger attorney or professional or surgeon. So my thing was, if we're going to be effective in the community, let me go back and let me just try to do the things the way my parents taught me, the way that I've always learned. I'm going to make mistakes, but don't try to take advantage of people. And I feel like when the next generation sees it, they can say, hey, I can be a lawyer. That's easy. Jay Finch is a lawyer. I can do it then. He played ball with me. His parents played ball with my parents, and I'm just trying to be accessible is the main thing.
So that's amazing. That's amazing, Attorney Finch, the fact that that you want to be an example in your community, so people can have a beacon of light to see where they can go, or be a lighthouse for them. So when they're lost, they can look out and say, you know what, man, here's the path to get to where I need to be. I think that's amazing, which leads me to my next question. I want to ask you, what in the world led you to writing a book? How did we get there?
I'm going to say that was a mistake as well. Well, it was a mistake by me, but obviously the book is here today. Just like anything else that's been put in my path, I would say God inspired it. I was in law school.
Can I interject right here? I want to say this to y'all. He said it was a mistake. So not all mistakes are bad. There are some mistakes you're going to make that's going to step you into your destiny, right? Right?
I agree.
You agree?
I agree. So I was in law school, and just a little bit about my law school is Regent University, very, very good Christian conservative school.
Awesome.
The racial dynamics are about 97% Caucasian, 3% minority, whether that be African American, Indian American, or Asian. So in a class full of 100 students, there may be one African or two African Americans, and the rest would be Caucasian. Previously, I went to Elizabeth City State University, HBCU, home of the Mighty Vikings.
EC.
So when I was in class, it was 99% or 95% African American.
Wow.
So now that was my comfort zone. Home was my comfort zone. Everybody culturally back home, that was my whether you were white or black, we all acted the same. we all acted the same. We all had about the same economic base. Nothing was really different. Nothing really surprised you. But when I got to Regent and I got into the classroom, and I'm seeing 100 people in the class. Number one, Liberty City State, you may have 30 people in the class at most. 100 people in the class. Everybody's brilliant. Everybody's polished. People appear to have, money, like real money. And you sit in the class, and it's really intimidating because you're like, what? Number one, am I supposed to be here? It's myself, and maybe I saw another, African American that was in the hallway, but I started thinking about like how it made me feel, how I felt I was perceived, whether good or bad. If I were to answer a question in class, I'll go home and think about, when I said that statement, how did people perceive it? Sometimes I'll ask myself, like, was I speaking on behalf of black people when I answered that question? It wasn't that people were judging me. It was how you perceive things. It kind of equates to how you behave. Wow. So I was really, really nervous, never really been nervous before. And so I went home and I started writing a journal. So I'm writing my journal totally raw, only for me, because every day I'm just seeing different scenarios I've never seen before, and I feel like I'm not equipped for them. Mm-hmm. So I'm writing to myself, today was a bad day. I did good on the test, or I did bad on the test, or I felt like myself and one of my peers got in an argument over politics or racial issues or any of these things, and I'm just putting it in. I'm putting it into the book. And when I say it's totally raw, it's totally raw. Like, if I read it to you guys would be like, he was going through a super transitional emotional time doing that. And after my first year of law school, I kind of got away from it. And then I started practicing law. Well, once I started practicing law, some of these same themes that I was finding in law practice, in law school, I saw in law practice. I'm like, this is kind of similar. I felt more equipped for law practice because I had that experience. Keeping in mind, if I hadn't have had that experience with the 99% Caucasians at my university, then it probably wouldn't have equipped me for law practice, because when you go into a courtroom in Northeastern North Carolina, most of the officials are going to be Caucasian. And we're getting a good number of minorities represent the law field in our town now, but that's just what it is. And I think the dynamics are probably about 13% across America. Sorry if the number's wrong. So once I started practicing law, I started listening to podcasts. I started doing research on how can I become a lawyer? How do I need to behave? I don't want to make the wrong mistakes and people think I'm this or I'm that. When should I fight? When should I not fight? And so I ran upon, two great lawyers' books. One is Thurgood Marshall. He was practicing law for the NAACP during the Civil Rights Movement. It's my favorite story in the world.
What? I got tears coming from my eyes already.
Come on, man. It's my favorite story in the world. In the Deep South, it's a murder case. He's representing a young black man accused of murdering a white person. All white jury. Ku Klux Klan is literally waiting outside.
Cooked.
He won the case.
Come on, man.
He won the case.
Come on, man.
And he made it home alive.
Come on, man.
So when I read things like this, I'm like, oh, I'm okay. I don't have to worry about that, you know. For him to be able to stand in front of that jury, knowing that the Ku Klux Klan was outside, knowing it was an all right jury, and he won it.
Yeah.
That's a different level of pressure. This is what I strive for. Like, this is easy what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it home most of the time. Like, unless I do something silly, I'm making it home. And then I read Johnnie Cochran later on in his battles with the LAPD, more systematic racism in that situation where, you know, it was LAPD was just so corrupt. He won 10 murder trials straight.
Wow.
But the themes that were coming from these books, I've been practicing law maybe 2 years at that time. I'm like, man, these guys are dynamic, you know, the best of the best. But in my little career, I'm like, man, these gentlemen are talking about things that I can recognize. You know, the procedure, how you talk in court, how it's not always best to go in with a sword. Like, sometimes you can use soft words and the judge will give you the nod. And so once I saw that, I was like, well, if I can use their stories and I have my own story that I'm living every day, how much better would it be for someone entering the law school knowing what they were looking at before they got there?
Wow.
They don't have to make the mistakes that I made. They don't have to feel as inadequate. Their experience might not be my experience, but it's an experience that they can feed from. And so I try to put little frameworks into the book that can help them along the way and make it really, really practical. So that's how I pretty much came with it. Just a guide, you know, if you're thinking about going to law school, like, just to prep you and to get your emotions ready to some things that you may be feeling and avoid pitfalls. I still, you know, every day see those same pitfalls, and sometimes I pass, sometimes I fail, but I feel like if my experience is not shared, then we're set back. So hope I answered your question.
No, man, that was an amazing response, man. I'm thinking about Thurgood being in that unbelievable predicament, and the fact that I believe you said somewhere in there, if you can just make it out. He made it out, and he made it home, and I just think that's amazing, being able to stand within that pressure. So thank you for that. That was crazy.
Well, you know, and a lot of being an attorney is actually putting yourself in the place. You can only truly fight for your client if you put yourself in their place. So while his client was looking at death, he felt like he was looking at death too. A lot of times you're the only person that stands in between your client and death. So you kind of got to be in that position. So I guess he probably mentally put himself in a place like, you know, I'm going to die if this doesn't work out, because I'm the only one standing here advocating for my client. And on a smaller scale, you know, that really motivates me. You know, it may not be in the Jim Crow South, but if somebody's charged with an offense that could end their career, certainly, you know, ending your career, ending your financial situation, whatever it may be, is never good for anyone. So
amazing, man, amazing. You said a few things in there that really resonated with me, and you spoke about being willing to put yourself in a situation, to extend yourself, kind of risk yourself in order to see someone else succeed or make it. Can you just speak around that? Where does that come from? Where does that come from? I'm pretty sure that's in the book. You talked about that, but where does that spirit, that heart come from? The ability to risk yourself for others.
Well, there's times when individuals need help, whether it be myself, whether it be, you know, William, Todd, doesn't matter what color you are, what race, creed, it doesn't make a difference. And people choose you. People choose you because they trust you. They believe that you're going to fight for them. The same way, if my child were in trouble, or my mom, my dad, or my friend was in trouble, I would go to who I trust. That trust is not to be forsaken. You know, if it's a situation where someone calls on me, then I got to make sure that I'm making right on my family name. You know, my roots, the people that came before me, Thurgood Marshall, Johnnie Cochran, and all these guys on a smaller level. So to give anything but 100% fight would be spitting in the face of everything that I worked for, or everything that I was blessed, the tools that I was blessed to work with.
In listening to the way you responded to that question, I heard a few things in there. I heard a man who will stand in his cultural context for people in his very own cultural context. But I also heard you speak not just for your own cultural context, but it sounds like to me that you'll stand for all. And I want to touch on this. Here's the question: Black lawyer confidential. Black lawyer confidential. Can you speak around what that title means? I mean, because some people will want to kind of pigeonhole that title and say black lawyer, so okay, we got Attorney Finch, he's only dealing with black people now. But I don't think that, listening to your heart, listening to you sharing some of your experiences, I don't think that's what that book title means. Can you share something about that?
Black Lawyer Confidential. It's pretty easy. I'm an African American. I'm a lawyer, and the information that I have is the information that I learned going along the way. It's not meant to point out any particular class of people. I think the book is a great read for everyone. It's talking about my experience. It's talking about my experiences with my white peers, my good friends, as well as my black friends that were not so good friends at times. So just how I identify myself, black lawyer. The confidential part is just thought it sounded kind of cool. But the keys to success is the main thing, trying to prepare people in the minority context to be ready to go into a career that's probably 3 to 4% of people that look like them. The book is meant really to create harmony within your person, because if you can move in spaces and feel comfortable, you can make people feel comfortable around you, whether they're black, white, Chinese, or anything. So, while the title may be a little bit abrupt, I feel like anybody in the world can read this book and get something good from it.
You know what, Attorney Finch, I love what you said, how you broke that down about what the book was about and how it was about for everybody. I love that. Attorney Finch, what's the number one thing you learned during this process?
Well, just over the years, being at rock bottom over and over again, I just learned to adjust to it. You get to a place where you get knocked down, whether you didn't pass the exam, whether you didn't pass the bar exam, whether your client gets convicted and is, whether you lose money for your client or any of these things, you realize that you go down to zero, but you just keep getting up. And through that process, you just learn so much. So even when I read the book, it takes me to an emotional place, because it's the ups and downs of my life. And I think what people understand really quickly is that's what life is about. It's ups and downs, and you appreciate it. So I just appreciated the process in itself, because I've had so many ups and downs. But I'm still here, brother.
Still here, that's crazy. Attorney Finch, you went to a Christian school, and I want to kind of touch on that. What is that about? I mean, why a Christian school?
Well, that Regional University I went to, they had a weekend and they told us about the biblical integration. They talked about how there was 15 minutes of devotion for every class. I needed all the prayer that I could get in law school. I need it now. I need it every day. And the fact that I was a Christian, it definitely tied in. I think to those who read the book, there are definitely nuggets from the Bible that are there. There are nuggets that I've learned, things that I thought that God showed me while I was actually in law practice as well as in law school. So it's a part of me. Maybe it should have been Christian Black Lawyer Confidential, but it's a great part of who I am, and I think that it inspires those, whether Christian or not, to keep pushing.
Attorney Finch, you're a man of faith. I can hear it spews out of you. Can you tell me how your faith played a part in your process?
Well, if it were not for my faith, that was the only confidence that I had. So when I didn't get that grade, the only thing I could do was look to God and say, well, God, I know I got a F on this test, but you have me here for a reason. So that was my confidence, because I wasn't getting that confirmation from my professors nor my peers, because they were looking strictly at my grades. I had to look to him and say, God, you got me here, so you're going to get me through.
Wow, God will get you through every time, too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, Attorney Finch, here we go. All right, so I got a game, rapid fire game. Now we're going to play G-Dove rapid fire, Gorden Dove's rapid fire game. So here we go. All right, so I'm going to ask some type of question or I'll throw something at you, right? Then I want you to respond with how the book affects whatever it is that I throw at you, or what advice the book would have to say to whatever I throw at you. All right, you got it? Mm-hmm. All right, we put it together, y'all. This game doesn't come with any instructions, so I want you guys to beware. PG-13. All right, here we go. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Little boy, single parent home.
Know your crew.
Could you give me a little something on that? Know your crew.
Man, I think the first week I started practicing law, first thing I saw was people catching charges for their boys. What I mean by people catching charges for their boys, you cannot have criminal intent when you go outside, but if you hang with the live wire every single day, someday his charges is going to be your charges and your charges is going to be his charges. So the first thing it speaks to is stay out of the system, and the way that you do that is watch the people that you're around.
Single parent mother.
It's not too late.
Wow. Can you expound on that?
When I was in law school, I was struggling. There were so many single parent families that were in law school. Not 2 or 3 kids, 4, 5, 6 kids. These women are excelling today in the area of law practice. With 4 or 5 kids, divorce, it's never too late to go to law school or whatever it is that you want to do. Whatever your dream is, don't let anything hold you back.
Wow, that's awesome. Got another one for you. Small business owner.
Relationships are everything.
Give me that.
When you're a small business owner, you're the face. Your staff is the face. Everything you do is on Front Street. There's no hiding behind a fake product. So your product has got to be good. So your relationships have got to be good, because if they're not, your business is not going to grow. When it's booming on a small scale, if your overhead is low, you can do really, really well. So just the relationships. It's not Google over here.
It's awesome. That's awesome advice. All right, got another one for you. High school senior.
Find a lawyer. I think it's important that every high school senior doing, especially before you start college, if you think you want to be a lawyer, go find one and hang with them as much as you possibly can. Suck in the culture, suck in how the people talk, make sure you're learning from them, and it's never too early to get that glimpse of what law practice is like. So definitely find a lawyer during your high school senior year and your first year of undergrad.
All right, person in law school right now as we speak.
Stop wondering what everyone thinks of you. I think, writing the book, especially when I was doing my journaling, a lot of me getting stuck in my own head and being afraid to really maneuver was wondering what people were going to think about me. It went to my second semester when I shut down, trying to look so nice going to class. I went back into what we would call the dungeon, and I was showing up more so in sweatpants, getting the academics, and stopped wondering what everybody was thinking about me, that I was able to succeed. So forget everybody else, focus on you, compete with yourself, but use others as motivation.
A lawyer that's currently practicing today as we speak.
Facts. Any lawyer, I guarantee you, any lawyer who practices in the street lawyer context every day with the people, not so much corporate, will be able to identify with the story of the struggle, the stresses, and the successes that you feel when your client wins the case or your client loses the case, or you have a good day or a bad day, or even dealing with time management when it comes to your family.
All right, my last rapid fire question is this. What does this book say to every person, boy, girl, mother, father, sister, owner? I mean, everybody, the totality. Sum it up for me. What is it speaking? What is it breathing?
Know your strengths and weaknesses. Double down on your strengths, and where your weaknesses are, find a team that's going to complement you. And that's the only way you're going to get to the highest level. Grow your team, trust people, but don't trust them too much. When you get good people, keep them close to you. And always do right by people, I think.
All right, Attorney Finch, man, this has been crazy. This has been amazing. I'm super inspired, but let's get to what we're inspired about. Could you let us know when, where, and how we can get our hands on Black Lawyer Confidential Keys to Success?
Well, first off, I have a wonderful publishing company, postscriptpublishing.org. They helped me so much through that process, and I just appreciate them so much, because had it not been for their organization, knowing my strengths and my weaknesses, this book may have never gotten out, and when it did get out, it probably would have been in shambles. It probably would have been about 10 pages as well. The pre-release date is July 4th. That's when you can first order it. Directly from the website again, postscriptpublishings.org is where you can get the book from. It's coming out on paperback. We'll have some options on the website if you want to get it signed by myself. Then I'll definitely have those. Also, I'll probably have about 50 books in my car. If you see me, if you want one, just let me know. We're going to start in Hereford, drive through Elizabeth City, and we're going to end up in Dare County.
Okay. So you say you're starting in Hereford, driving through Elizabeth City, we're going to end in Dare County.
And we're going to bring it back to Greenville.
Awesome. So y'all guys, y'all hear that? You got the information.
And if you see my mom, she's definitely going to have about 200 books on her as well.
Y'all look out for Mom. She gonna be pushing them out the trunk. Shout out to what's my boy name? Master P. Shout out to Ma Dukes. Master Mom. Pushing them jumps out the trunk. Attorney Finch, this has been a delight for me, man. I mean, it has been a complete honor to sit with you and to not only hear your heart, hear your passions, hear your desire, and then also sit with you and kind of get a little bit more close to your journey, to hear the perseverance, to hear the endurance, to hear your dedication to process, to hear your ability to have vision and look beyond where you were, to see where it was you were trying to go. I mean, I'm honored. Not only have I heard a man that is a great businessman, I've heard everything. I've heard a man that is full of compassion. I heard a man that is a doer. I heard a man that also is a man of faith. And I am very honored. I've learned so much. And I know that the people that are going to hear your voice and the people that are going to be able to purchase this wonderful book are going to be blessed, inspired, and pushed into the next level of their lives. And I want to say to you guys, I want to say that this is going to change your life. I don't know what place you are in life. I don't know where you are. I don't know your economic status, your social status. I don't know where you are in your job right now. I don't know where you're trying to go. But this is the book that not only can speak to where you are, but it's going to help you to get to where you're going. So in all of the surrounding counties, Elizabeth City, Currituck, Mooryock, Hereford, Paquimins, all of them, I can't name all of them, but I want all of you guys to get yourself together, put something aside, and get your hands on this, not just book, but resource. This is a resource that can change your life. For those of you that have been looking for a mentor, you've been looking for someone to guide you, this book is literally a pocket mentor. You keep it with you, and it's going to guide you to the next place. So get ready, because I'm telling you, the breakthrough you've been waiting for, it's in this book.